I always tell people I see sounds. It's just, I can see auras and like, I don't know, I think it's a thing, man. I think it's meds maybe. Hi, I'm with Ali. I'm with Khamsa. Hi, I'm Ali. And I'm currently with Khamsa. Oh no, khalas, it's not even sincere anymore. I was born and raised in Kuwait. But if you think if I matured or who I became I think I owe it to Saudi. Because I've lived in Kuwait, I've lived in Lebanon, I've lived in Egypt. But if you can say what made me who I am, it's always gonna be Saudi. Okay, so honestly, I'm not the kid with the fondest memories because a lot of people don't know, but I'm very vocal about it. I'm bipolar, so when someone is bipolar, as they grow up, they have dormant, and they become dormant. And then when you grow up, all your memories go back to linking bad memories. So it's like a chain thing. So it's not it's not my greatest thing, but it was a pleasant. I could just say it's pleasant growing up. Actually, it wasn't. When I started growing up, then I talked to my mom and understand. So I wanted to be an astronaut, I wanted to be a chef, I wanted to be a detective. But then I grew up, I studied medicine for a bit, and then I switched my major to anthropology. So I studied anthropology, which I said before. But there was this thing called portfolio night, which is like speed dating for graphic designers so they can get a chance to get a job. And usually you get a 5 minutes with agencies like MEMAC, BBDO and all that. And there was this person called, actually I have to mention first my professor, her name is Mariam Husseiniya. And she was a typographist and she saw my work that I do on my own. So keep in mind, I've never studied graphic design, I've never studied anything of those sorts, there's also self-taught. So she told me to put a portfolio together and go with these 18 students that are all graduates in graphic design. And I presented to someone called Angelo, who was Angelo Shami, which he was the creative director for BBDO. And he hired me as an art director on the spot. Keep in mind, no graphic design skills, no nothing. In that first year, I learned how to be really fast. But when you look back on it, when I realized I wasn't a graphic design student was the only one that got hired, I realized it's because I never understood the mold correctly and because I break the rules. That's why you shock people really well, and that's how you get your attention. You always have to go against the grain. I was giving an Apple talk, I think in 2017, and I think it went. I got asked that question and I went in a really dark format and the guy was like, that was a really happy question, I don't know where it went wrong. So I said, I think human beings on earth are meant to create. This is our main focus and as humans on this earth. Why do I say that? Is we have to create the wheel, we have to create it. But what I feel like about creating is to create narrative, to create dialogues and create conversations is very important. I've never given up on human beings. I love humans and I realize we always have to create because we have to send, when you look at I don't want to mispronounce it, the Maslow's pyramid of being, your last issue is always identity. And I think when you create, you can leave something behind. Culture, simple and easy. You just look at these things that you need to open a third eye to fascination from food, and so like the other day I was saying something about my background of food is Lebanese food is called food of the poor. There's a meaning why I say that is because from all houses we eat the same format of food. It's always known that we eat from the burghul, from fatouche and all that. This is called the food of the poor. But like if you take it in to more of a Kuwaiti or a Saudi cuisine, you know that some people can eat this amount of food, which is big feasts, while poor eat a different kind of format food. That's something I learned by just looking at I'm just going about food, I'm not even going about anything else. But that's where you find culture. You have to find culture in the sense of what do they consume, their geography, because we always say geography governs the masses and language. These three things are and when I say consumer, I'm just not talking about food, I'm talking about the information they consume. Because if you look at it in a silent format, Lebanese by default are renowned political scientists because war has governed our earth, governed our geography. While you look at other nationalities where it's less about, like now compare them to Europeans, where it's less about war and it's more about advancement and all that. And you see their dialect or their narratives are way shifted different than ours. So it's always about geography, and I think it's the most important, the consumption of information, geography, and language. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, I think I just want to be remembered. I just want to be like, mentioned that I've done something that has changed the perspective of someone. Again, good question. It was pretty much. So I have these things. So you have to understand something about me. I have chaos and balance on both sides because of my bipolar tendencies. I do a lot of extremely out there things. So I don't know what is my first time of a thing anymore. I think it becomes, I don't know. I'm not sure when was the last time I've done something for the first time. Although that, shout out to Drake, that's a Drake line. I've always wanted to talk. Okay, so I have this thing, and I don't know if it's controversial to say this. I've always wanted. One of my favorite stories of the prophets is Moses. I just want to ask him, or even see how the Red Sea was split in half. So that's the most person I'd ever. And of course, I want to name, if I ever get a child, inshallah, I want to name him Moses. I think the best thing I can tell them is never give up. Your chance will come. Listen, it's not only hard work, there is luck there as well, and being in the perfect time, the perfect place, socialize, network, be there, and try to not. Okay, so this is the thing where my art career went full speed is when I stopped looking left and right. When you start comparing yourself to people, or you start looking and saying, oh, I could have done this better. This is some sort of pity, or this, it has like some saltiness into it. When you stop having that and you start only believing in your own self, my God, you'll do, especially in the age of social media, anyone that has something done so profoundly right will get the coverage for it.